everybody, welcome to School of Scarlett. Today I have another message for you. So today's message came through a dream, so it's quite unusual for me to get a dream. And so today's message is around wealth and money. So if you have ever been feeling like you're stuck in survival mode, or you're not understanding how come, we've grown up in a society where we have to learn how to be basically a worker and work 9 to 5 and kind of leave all of our passions behind, this message here is for you. So I don't normally have a lot of dreams. I'm a person that might have like 2 or 3 dreams in a whole entire year. And so when I have a dream, I usually really pay attention to what it's showing me. And so this is one of the dreams that I had, and I actually woke up very tired from that dream. So it wasn't like a scary dream or, anything like that, but there was different parts to it that I had to analyze. And so I woke up from that and I was quite tired, and now I've had some time to kind of digest what happened in that dream. And so I'm going to be sharing that here with you today. One of the things about my dreams that oftentimes I'll dream things and I'll literally see them happen like in 6 months or so. So there a lot of times when I was younger, I would even dream just things that could happen at school, and then suddenly those things would happen at school. So all of that to say that today's dream is something that is really, unfolding for us here. We can already see parts of it unfolding here in our reality. So the dream really started off kind of a little bit strange. It started off with a river and a dam. So it was actually a dream of one of the properties that I have. And so the property that I have, it has beavers. Like, it's known to have like lots of beavers there that create dams. So I was dreaming of our property, and there was like one area that's kind of right of our dock, and it was all dammed up with like branches, everything that the beaver had brought in. And then as you went out further and you looked to the left, there was literally like a river, and the river was flowing, and the river was like going, forward. So I had that image coming up. And then the other part of the dream was really talking about wealth, talking about basically the story of a man who basically was working at some place and became a billionaire by using his workers to create clothing. So this is just a dream I had. It's not, real or anything like that, but he made money creating clothing. And so you could see that there was people that were working at these factories, and he was just kind of taking in all the money. And so what I could see was that he had all this money. It seemed like he was a billionaire. And then the money that he was taking in, he was reinvesting it into stocks. He was reinvesting it into like investments that were going to grow for him. So that's what I was seeing there. And then after that, I saw another person who was basically like a healer, who was kind of speaking on YouTube, speaking, it looked like in front of groups of people, kind of healing through counseling, through really talking about just normal things, it seemed like. And that person was making a lot of money as well. But that person was then taking that money, and then instead of reinvesting it in some sort of stocks, they were giving it to underprivileged children. Okay, so there was like a difference there. And one of the reasons that the dream was so tiring for me is because when I woke up, something about the version of the billionaire was very tiring to me. And then the other version of the person that was the healer, the speaker, was, more comforting. But at the end of the day, watching both sides of all of this occur was for some reason very tiring to me. So anyhow, the dream had, some more details and things to it, but I don't think that a lot of that has anything to do with this. There was a lot more going on as far as the children and all of that, but I think all of that, it hasn't been unfolded to me yet what the messages are with the children. So what I could see was that there was basically a similarity between the showing of the dam and the person that was the billionaire. The person that was the billionaire was kind of hoarding and keeping all of the money that they were making, kind of like a dam. The dam kind of hoards everything right there. And so he wasn't really allowing it to flow. He was keeping it, and he was keeping it in a way that, he was reinvesting it for himself. There was no giving back or flow, it seemed like. So with the other person that seemed like they were like the healer or a speaker of some kind, it seemed like they were like the river. They were very much flowing, And it didn't seem like there was a lot of stress there like there was with the billionaire. It seemed like there was more freedom there. Whereas with the billionaire and the workers he had, it seemed very like captivating it seemed like the people there were captives. Like they couldn't leave their job at this, what seemed like a sweat factory. It seemed almost like they were enslaved in some ways, and they didn't have freedom of mind, freedom of, physical freedom to leave the place. It seemed very captivating to me. And whereas the other version of it seemed like the person was very free, and the people that were there in the capacity of, if the person was speaking or whatever, they seemed very free to go and come and ask questions. There was a level of freedom there. So that's what it seemed like. And so it seemed like it was more of a river, more of a flow there. So I wanted to bring to you today that there is a transfer of wealth that I feel is going to be happening. So we may already begin to be seeing this through, the creator economy that we see here on YouTube. We see people now making more money than, they used to think that, or we used to be told that, you had to be a doctor, you had to be a lawyer, you had to do this or that. Well, we're seeing here on YouTube that there's doctors and lawyers that are leaving those professions to come onto YouTube or to come onto some sort of creative feature that they've created, and they're sharing their gifts in a way where they're entrepreneurs. They're no longer working for someone, following maybe their set of rules, or enslaved to whatever that association or that medical field believes. They have freedom of mind, freedom of speech to say what they want. Whereas when you're stuck to an institution, whether it's a university or some hospital or some known medical association, you're very much tied to whatever it is that their agenda is, whatever it is that they want to push at the time. Whereas if you're your own entrepreneur, or you're on YouTube or something, you have more freedom of speech. And we're seeing that those people are being rewarded monetarily being rewarded in ways that are even higher than we thought before. So there's a transfer of wealth happening. People that are just creative in general. I see people that are painters that are doing very well now that we have, this opening of the internet and being able to share on TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube, any of these platforms. People are on there sharing their true gifts that are within them. It used to be very hard to do that. You had to get a 9-to-5 job. You had to work for somebody. You couldn't go on your own. It always seemed like you had to work for someone. And when you worked for someone, you weren't allowed to speak about what was happening there. You weren't allowed to be free about who you were. And I know this because I was working in the mental health field for quite a long time. And there was so much control there of the modalities that we could use, the therapies that we could use with people. And there was a very much of a muzzling of not being able to talk about what was happening in these places. Same thing with teaching. I was teaching in the school district and also in Head Starts and things like that. You weren't allowed to say anything on social media that could void your contract, that could go against you in some way. So you weren't allowed to speak about anything you felt like needed change in that arena. But now we're seeing that with people being able to get on these platforms and be their own boss, they're able to speak out against the things that are not working. And we're seeing a change and a push towards a different way of being. A revolution basically of like new education system. We're seeing that the old education system isn't working. Same thing with the medical field. We're starting to see that, there's other things, other ways. And so those are coming forth. The economy, we're starting to see that there's other ways for banking to happen. They used to be very much trapped into student loans and loaning and debts and things like that. Well, we're starting to see a little bit of that change and more independence happening in those areas. So we could go on and really analyze a lot of different areas that are moving forward. But this is basically the transfer of wealth happening in our society, in our reality. So I do believe that this is what is happening in our system right now. We're moving from scarcity to abundance. We are abundant. We look at nature, we look at anything around us, it is abundance. But yet we've been living so scarce. That is going to begin to change. So go ahead and step out there with your gift, with your knowing, whatever it is that's within your heart Go ahead and step out there now. You have the permission to do so. Align to your intuition. Your intuition is going to be your greatest gift right now in wealth creation. So if you don't know how to tap into your intuition, I would encourage you to sign up for my new intuition training. There is still time for you to sign up. I will link that down below in the description and in the comments down below. So anyhow, I think that's all I want to talk about here today. We don't have to work harder. We have to get into flow, and that is where the transition is happening. So again, if you want to learn how to connect to your intuition, how to connect to that flow, how to really flow like that river rather than be dammed up like the dam, you're going to want to get with me and connect with that intuition training. Or just begin to tap into your own heart. Begin to go forward with those gifts and those desires and those things that you want to do. You're safe to do so, and you will be greatly rewarded for it here. So one of the other things, just to close up, is that when you do get rewarded in this new transfer of wealth, we're not hoarding the money. We're going to spread it out. We're going to give money back to like those underprivileged children, to building new education centers, to building new counseling centers, where these new innovative things are happening. So it's really a flow. We're not hoarding all the money. We're not in scarcity. We're in this freedom of creating, of expanding, of seeing a change in this world. So I hope that this message found you well, that it resonated with you. If it did, give me a thumbs up, a heart, comment down below how it resonated with you. I would love to know in the comment section. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next message. I love you all.